If you want to make hundreds or thousands through marketing your business on Pinterest, then you're gonna need to hear this Pinterest update. I'm Emily Bales. I'm a Pinterest marketing and ad strategist, and I help my students and my clients increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. So before we dive into this exciting announcement that is definitely going to impact your Pinterest strategy, or maybe if you're thinking about getting started on the platform, you're still gonna wanna hear this. But let's go back in time just a little bit and talk about why this change is being made on the platform. So why here, why now? So in September of 2020, Pinterest announced the release of this new type of pin format called story pins. Now, Pinterest creators had some mixed feelings on this pin format because they were not linkable. And historically, Pinterest has been used for businesses as a traffic driver. So when Pinterest users are on the platform and they're looking at pins, sometimes they save a pin for later and that shows intent, and other times they decide to click on the pin and then they will actually leave Pinterest and go to that Pinterest creator's website or their affiliate or wherever that Pinterest creator wants to drive traffic. But with story pins, they were really unique because we couldn't add the link. And that really frustrated a lot of Pinterest creators because it seemed like it was kind of defeating the whole purpose of Pinterest. So you might be wondering, why did Pinterest create this type of pin? Well, there's different theories and mixed thoughts that have gone on, but in my mind, I think about Pinterest trying to keep Pinterest users not only coming back to the platform, so keeping it fresh and relevant, but also if they're not driving traffic off of their platform, then people are spending more time, obviously, on the platform. And Pinterest is public, and so they've got some skin in the game and they need people to stay on their platform. They have people who are spending money on advertising. So that could be a part of it as well. Now, the thing that was challenging with story pins was, hence the name, Pinterest creators thought that maybe they were similar to Instagram stories or Snapchat stories, where you kind of show little snippets of your daily life or random things. And some people were finding that maybe their story pins were falling flat, or we just weren't necessarily really sure how to use them. So fast forward to 2021 and Pinterest renames them idea pins. And this gives Pinterest creators, in my mind, and as a Pinterest educator myself, I think this added a lot more clarity around what we were supposed to be doing with them. So I always taught that idea pins were really supposed to share a fully conceptualized idea so that the Pinterest user felt like they could watch or read, if it was a static image, whatever was included in that idea pin, and then be able to go and take action on that. And you might have caught where I said static image or video. That was something else that really made idea pins stand outside of what we had been used to with the other types of pin formats. So really, if you have been marketing on Pinterest or you had been thinking about it, then you might be a little bit familiar with those three types of pin formats. So we have idea pins, like I said, that were formerly called story pins. We have video pins and standard pins. And standard and video were more similar in my mind because even though one had a static image and the other played a video, you were at least able to add a link to both of them. Whereas idea pins were really kind of their own thing because not only could you not add a link, but they were multi-pages. So you could have a static image and then a video, or a video, then multiple static images. So they were multi-page, and you could also add these fun features, or what Pinterest likes to call expressive features. So music, text overlay, stickers. So they were really a lot of fun. But Pinterest creators still had some reservations about the pin format. So Pinterest decided to roll out something new called the Creator Rewards Program. So 2020, they were released as story pins. 2021, they are renamed idea pins. And then 2022, we saw the Creator Rewards come around. And what Pinterest was doing was they were paying Pinterest creators for their idea pins that performed well. And you essentially, if you got access to it, and there were requirements that you had to meet in order to get access to the Creator Rewards program. But even if some people were eligible, not everybody was getting access to the rewards program, which was also kind of frustrating for a lot of creators, right? So I was one of the lucky people that did get access to the Creator Rewards, and I'm gonna be honest, I loved it. At one point, I even made like $500 from one idea pin, which was crazy. And I believe it only took me about 15 minutes to create. And the way that they were deciding how to pay you was they would give you goals to meet, and all of those goals were based off of saves. And so one thing that this told me was that saves was a really important metric in the eyes of Pinterest in the algorithm. So when I started focusing on creating really educational, inspirational idea pins, I started getting more saves, and my idea pins started really kind of blowing up. And for me, they were really viral. And I always like to throw this in there that virality is relative. What might be viral for me might not be viral for you, right? But they were far and wide the best performing pins I had ever created. And what was beautiful about it was I started seeing this snowball effect where as my idea pins started performing well, so did my standard and my video pins. So my account really just started growing exponentially, honestly, and to the tune of over 1,000% in 6 months, the growth. So that was really exciting. But then the brakes come to a screeching halt in December of 2022 when Pinterest abruptly, there's not a lot of forewarning, that they were canceling or they were doing away with the Pinterest Creators Program. And people were kind of wondering why, and all along, Pinterest had said that it was really just a beta program. They had never made any promises about how long it was going to be around. And my opinion is that probably it was not worth the return on the investment for Pinterest. So they were paying all this money to Pinterest creators, and it must have not been something that was either sustainable or something that they felt like was really going to be beneficial enough for them to keep long term. But they did announce that they finally were going to be throwing us Pinterest creators a bone by giving us links to idea pins. And really, that's what Pinterest creators wanted all along. They just wanted the ability to add a link to the idea pins. And part of that, the reason that they wanted that link was not only because they wanted, obviously, to drive traffic with them, but they were time intensive, and we really wanted a purpose to the pins. So we got a little taste of the Pinterest Creator Rewards, and then they announced that they are going to at least give us access to links. Now, that was in December of 2022. So months are going by, and we're not seeing any changes just yet during the winter, and then early spring comes around, and I'm still hearing rumblings about when is it gonna be released or rolled out, this update. And then we all started figuring out that we actually could add links, but it was kind of a glitchy hack. And if you go back to one of my previously published YouTube videos, I actually share in that video how to add a link to your idea pin, but it's a very wonky way where in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this almost feels like a hack. And I think it's because Pinterest just hasn't really fully made this update across the platform. And at the time, what they were doing was you could publish an idea pin, then you could go to desktop, and it had to be on desktop, and after the pin was published, and if you edited it, then you would see the ability to add a link, but not when you were actually publishing it. So like I said, very strange. And then I shared how I had kind of a workaround, and then people saw that disappear, where they would publish the idea pin, they would go to desktop to try to add the link for the idea pin, and they no longer had access. So then people start messaging me, and I said, to be honest, I think that this was just a temporary, almost like a hack or a glitch. And I said that I do know that Pinterest obviously is going to be giving us the ability to add a link for idea pins, but I think that it's going to be a little bit more succinct, like when you're actually creating the idea pin, because that makes no sense to have to wait until after you publish it to add the link, right? So I said, it's one of those things where we're just gonna have to hold tight. So now, the moment you have all been waiting for, here is that Pinterest update I promised to you at the beginning of this video. So Pinterest May 2023 announced that finally we are going to be adding and being able to add, I should say, links to all of our pins. But here's the catch. They are going to make it through one streamlined process when you're creating your pins. So before we had these different pin formats, and they were all a little bit different, and the features and what we could do with the different pin formats differed. Like I mentioned with the idea pins, we could add the music, the text overlay, the stickers, but we couldn't do those same things with standard and video pins. Well, now we are just going to have this essentially one overarching umbrella where we're just gonna be able to create a pin. And when we create that pin, we'll be able to either add a static image or a video. And with creating that pin, no matter if it is a static or a video, you will be able to add those features. So what Pinterest likes to call the expressive features, we will be able to do that with all of our pins. That's the text overlay, the music, the stickers, which is really pretty cool and exciting. Now, Pinterest has shared some other updates that we're going to be wanting to be mindful of as well. So apart from being able to add links to all of our pins now, no matter what the format is, we also will be able to post, publish, edit. And what that means is once you publish the pin, you will be able to go back and edit that pin. And the reason why this is different is because with our idea pins previously, once it was published, it was kind of a done deal. So if you had typos or you made a mistake or something along those lines, it was kind of a sealed deal. So this is really nice that we will, no matter what the pin you're creating, video or static image, you will be able to go back once it's published and edit that. And Pinterest also announced that we also will have flexible ratios. Now, I noticed this when I was creating an idea pin in the app, and this was before any updates had been made and Pinterest made this announcement / update. But I noticed when I was in the app and I was creating at the bottom, when I was editing my idea pin, I saw these different dimensions and I started to play around with it, and that flexible ratios, that's what it essentially is doing, is you're able to change the size or the dimensions of the pin. I'm not really sure how I feel about this just yet because we are used to that vertical pin format. Typically with our standard in our video pins, it was 1000 by 1500 pixels. They were a little bit longer for our idea pins, but this has had lots of different options as far as the flexible ratios. So there could be a YouTube video in the future about this specific topic, and more on my thoughts on that and really what I think is going to be beneficial in the long run. And apart from the flexible ratios, we also are going to be seeing enhanced metrics with all of our videos. So that means the view time and how many times your video has been watched, we will be able to see those enhanced metrics on all videos, which is kind of cool. So we'll be given even more information about those videos. And that is important to pay attention to because if you're spending time creating that video content, you want to pay attention to how many people are viewing it, how long they're watching it for, because anytime you have data and analytics that you can break down, it's important to analyze that so then you can take that information and figure out what's resonating with your audience, and then that's going to really help you best serve them in the long run. And a few other updates that are going to be rolled out as well. Pinterest has really focused on making it a positive and really a safe platform, focused on making people feel good and really staying away from any bullying or any language that is going to be hurtful. So one thing that Pinterest is also adding is safety keywords. And essentially you can tell Pinterest what keywords that you want to hide or not have on your content, and you can protect yourself in that way. Also, Pinterest has announced that they are going to allow Pinterest users to be able to leave comments using photos. We're also going to see reactions to all pins. So previously, once again, where you could add a heart or a light bulb if you thought something was a really great idea, Before we could only see those on certain pin formats. Now we're gonna be able to see them across all pins as well. And finally, one of the last things I wanna mention, Pinterest is continuing to encourage Pinterest creators to take advantage through monetizing on Pinterest through the paid partnership tool and also through product tagging using your affiliate links. Now, this is for US and UK Pinterest users, but make sure that you are utilizing those other features so that you can make obviously as much money as you can on the platform. And Pinterest is encouraging Pinterest creators to use those features. So now you might be wondering, okay, Emily, this all sounds great, but what does this mean in 2023 for me and my strategy? So I do still preach, and I will continue to preach this in the future. I have a strong feeling that it's always going to be a best practice to diversify. I used to say pin formats, but now I'm gonna start saying media. And what I mean by that, in the past, when I said diversify your pin formats, I meant create standard pins, video pins, and idea pins within your Pinterest strategy. Now what I'm going to be saying is I want to tell you to diversify your pins and the media you're using. So still continue to use static images and videos, and definitely play around with what's working and test so that you can also see maybe what's not working, and obviously always do more of what is working and lean into what your audience tells you that they like and probably want more of. So when you're thinking about creating pins, you always want to put your audience first. You want to offer the solution to their problem. You want to inspire them, and you are helping them plan for special moments on the platform. So it's important to continue to always put your ideal audience first. And one thing that is not going anywhere on the platform is always making sure that you are optimizing your strategy using keywords. And I do have another YouTube video on how to do keyword research, and that is really the first pillar of creating a balanced Pinterest strategy. So be sure to go to that video and watch that if you're not really sure how to use those keywords. So as we move forward, I think that it will be a lot easier to create on the platform because we won't have these different pin formats. And no matter how many times it was explained, I think that a lot of Pinterest creators and even Pinterest users just felt a little bit confused about the different formats. So I do think that this is going to really streamline everything on the platform. So like I said, always make sure you are optimizing your content using keywords, putting your audience, their likes, their interests, and solutions to their problems, putting that first when you are creating content for them, and I think you're gonna see amazing growth. One thing I do wanna mention before I wrap up this YouTube video is that I have actually noticed a difference in not only some of my clients' accounts, but honestly my account with the rollout of this update. So it's important to keep in mind that when a platform undergoes a big change, sometimes obviously there can be glitches and wonky things that happen in the app, on your desktop, and I've kind of seen some of my stats go down. One thing in particular is I've noticed that my idea pins that I have been publishing, because I've not seen this rolled out just yet on my account, even though Pinterest announced it, I do still see the ability to create very specifically an idea pin, and they're just not getting the same reach and distribution that they had been before. So I just want to say, be consistent, give it a chance to kind of work out the kinks, and once things kind of go up and down a little bit, I think that they start to even out. But I've also noticed this on other social media platforms, whether it be Instagram or TikTok. Anytime, like I said, these changes are being made, there will be some growing pains. So if you're seeing your stats go down, don't feel like Pinterest is broken or no longer works. And some people go that drastic. You just have to keep that growth mindset and think, okay, they're making changes for the positive. I know that I am going to focus on serving my audience. I'm gonna stay consistent. I'm gonna do everything in my power that I can do, and keep on keeping on. And I promise that, there's always things that we can test and tweak in our strategy. So as we wrap up here, with those peaks and valleys, just make sure that you stay at it because Pinterest is an amazing way to not only drive traffic and profit for your business. And I promise that once you get that strategy streamlined, instead of hustling on the platform daily, you could maybe spend a couple of hours once a week and you're gonna be driving traffic and profit for your business in no time. What I want to invite you to do is I would love for you to watch my free masterclass, the 3-step system for automated sales on Pinterest, if you would like to learn more. Or you can also check out my shop where I have lots of different workshops. One is over how to do keyword research. It's called the SEO Expert. If you want to get some of my templates and my exact system for performing keyword research. And I also have a workshop over repurposing content, lots of amazing stuff. So be sure to check out that shop if you want more resources from me. So that's all I have for now. I want to invite you to like this video. Let me know in the comments what you think about these updates, how you're feeling, and be sure to subscribe to my channel. I can't wait to see you in next week's episode. Bye for now.